It started as a school assignment. Abraham let his fingers drift over the soft lace of the dress clinging to his body. The fabric was pale pink, light and delicate, ending just above his knees where the skirt gently flared outward. The corset beneath it had reshaped him more than he expected, drawing his waist inward until his reflection barely resembled the person he'd been an hour ago. A cascade of long blonde hair, courtesy of a carefully chosen wig, fell around his shoulders, framing his face. He'd kept the makeup subtle, a faint blush warming his cheeks, mascara darkening his lashes, and a soft pink tint on his lips that matched the dress perfectly. Turning sideways, he studied the unfamiliar silhouette in the mirror. "Abriana," he murmured under his breath, testing the name. It felt strange, unfamiliar, yet oddly right. Straightening his back, he adjusted to the tight pull of the corset and struck a light-hearted pose, one hand resting on his hip, the other brushing the hair near his face. For a brief moment, he allowed himself to enjoy the transformation. Then came the knock. It was firm enough to jolt him from the moment, followed by his mother's voice, laced with concern. "Abraham? Are you all right in there? Your friend said you were acting a little off today." His smile vanished. He turned sharply from the mirror, heart pounding. He'd rehearsed this excuse, but that didn't make it any easier. Yeah, Mom," he called back, forcing steadiness into his voice. "I'm fine. Just trying something new for a school project." There was a pause. "A school project?" she repeated, doubtful. He took a breath and leaned into it. "Drama class. We're studying Shakespeare, and I volunteered to dress as a character for extra credit. You know, experimental stuff." Another knock. Then the door creaked open. "Honey, are you sure?" Her words trailed off as she took him in. Abraham froze, bracing himself. Then she laughed softly. "Well," she said, amusement warming her voice, "you certainly didn't half commit. Wig, dress, everything. I have to admit, you look surprisingly convincing. Like a proper young lady." Relief washed through him. "Thanks, Mom," he said, letting out a breath. "I wanted to do it right." He glanced back at the mirror, an idea forming. "Actually, could you help me with the lacing? It's harder than it looks." She stepped fully into the room, studying the corset with a slight frown. "My goodness, this is complicated. I'm impressed you managed it at all." Her hands moved confidently as she tightened the laces. Abraham tensed as his waist was pulled in further, but kept his expression calm. "It's part of the challenge," he said lightly. She hummed thoughtfully. "Maybe. Still, that's an awful lot of effort for homework." He laughed, rolling his eyes. "You know me. If I'm doing something, I go all in. Besides, it's kind of fun." She smiled at that. "Yes, I suppose it is." Then, almost teasingly, she added, "You really do look the part, Abriana." The name sent a small flutter through his chest. "Yeah," he said quietly. "It fits the character." "It does," she agreed, stepping back to admire the result. "Though I'll admit, it's a bit startling. Feels like I've got a daughter back in the house." "Sorry if I scared you," he said gently. She waved it off. "Don't apologize. Your sister's been away at college so long. I guess I forgot what that felt like." She shook her head with a soft laugh. "But look at you. You've really outdone yourself. Abraham? Or should I say Abriana?" Warmth spread through him at her words. "Thanks, Mom," he said, meaning it more than she knew. "Coming from someone who actually knows Shakespeare," Abraham said lightly, motioning toward the small stack of books on his desk. Several of them were clearly well-loved, their spines creased from years of rereading. His mother's face brightened immediately. "Well, I do have a bit of a reputation as a Shakespeare devotee," she said with a pleased smile. "And I must say, your dedication is admirable. If you need help with the project, you know I'm always nearby." "I will, Mom. Thanks again, for the corset," Abraham added, giving her a small wave as he turned back toward the mirror to fix the wig, tucking loose strands neatly behind his ear. "Any time, sweetheart," she replied, pausing at the doorway. Then, with a playful tilt of her head, she added, "And Abraham, or Abriana, I suppose, enjoy it. Shakespeare is meant to be fun." I will, he called after her. I promise I'll do it justice. The door closed softly behind her, leaving him alone again with his reflection. He reached for a tube of lipstick, hesitating only briefly before twisting it open. This shade was deeper, bolder. As he carefully applied it, the rich red stood out strikingly against the soft pink of the dress. Abriana, he corrected himself silently, studying the way the color changed her expression. A sudden knock jolted him. Instinctively, he wiped the lipstick away, not quite ready to let anyone see this version yet. Yeah, he called. The door opened just enough for his father to peer inside. Hey kid. Your mom said you were up here. Everything okay? Abraham's pulse spiked, but he forced an easy tone. Yeah, all good. Just getting into character for a school project. His father stepped in a little farther, taking everything in, the dress, the wig, the makeup. Wow, he said after a moment. That's quite a transformation. Abraham felt heat rush to his face, painfully aware of how visible the blush must be beneath the pale foundation. That's kind of the point, he said, shrugging slightly. There was a brief pause before his father cleared his throat. Your mom explained. Shakespeare, huh? He tilted his head. So who exactly are you playing? Grateful for the distraction, Abraham lit up. Oh, she's a noblewoman from one of the histories, he began eagerly, launching into an animated explanation. He spoke about her intelligence, her ambition, the subtle ways she shaped events behind the scenes. His hands moved as he talked, his voice gaining energy as he described her motivations and role in the story. His father listened, a smile slowly forming. Well, I'll admit, I'm impressed. You really did your homework. Probably Mom's influence, Abraham said with a grin. Something like that, his father agreed. He studied him again, more thoughtfully this time. I have to say, you almost don't look like yourself. His voice softened, drifting briefly as if caught on an old memory, before he shook his head. Anyway, I just wanted to check in. Your mom was worried. Tell her I'm fine, Abraham said warmly. I've got everything under control. All right, his father replied, turning toward the door. You know where we are if you need us. Thanks, Dad. Once the door closed, Abraham released a slow breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Relief mixed with something else. Pride, maybe. He turned back to the mirror, seeing the reflection with new appreciation. Standing taller, he lifted his chin and struck a poised, almost regal stance, channeling the noblewoman he was meant to portray. Just then, his phone buzzed on the bed. Curious, he smiled and sat down, reaching for it as the moment lingered. He unlocked his phone to find a message from Justin waiting on the screen. Justin, dude, where'd you disappear to? Everyone's at the mall. People keep asking why you are acting so weird today. We're at the food court. Abraham frowned slightly. Weirdness. Right. That awkward, distracted version of him from earlier that morning. He quickly typed back. Had to finish a project. On my way. Give me 10, you'll see. He slipped the phone away, into Abriana's purse this time, a small handbag dangling lightly from his wrist. Grabbing a thin jacket, he stepped out of the bedroom and headed downstairs. I'm heading out to meet some friends, he called. Be careful, his mother replied, her voice teasing. And remember, Abriana, stay in character. Hearing the name sent a warm, fluttering feeling through him. With a small wave, he stepped outside, the summer air brushing against his legs as the blonde waves of the wig danced in the breeze. Sliding into the driver's seat, he smoothed the skirt carefully over his thighs and checked himself in the rearview mirror. The reflection staring back at him looked calm, confident, almost fearless. Smiling to himself, he pulled out of the driveway and headed toward the mall. The food court was packed, loud conversations, clattering trays, and the familiar smell of fries and soda filling the air. Abraham spotted Justin instantly, his red hair standing out as usual. Justin turned and froze. His eyes widened, sweeping over the dress, the wig, the makeup. Dude, he muttered, lowering his voice. What the? Abraham cut him off with a playful wink. Like it? School project. Justin blinked. A school project? You know me, Abraham said casually. Extra credit doesn't earn itself. A few more friends gathered around, curiosity pulling them closer. Man, that's commitment, Ryan said, shaking his head in disbelief. You don't exactly ease into things, do you? Abraham grinned and shifted into a pose without even thinking about it. If I'm doing it right. Then, leaning in slightly, he added, besides, it's actually kind of fun. The group exchanged looks, some impressed, some confused, all intrigued. Justin laughed and clapped him lightly on the shoulder. Honestly? If anyone could pull this off, it's you. So what's the project actually about? That was all the invitation Abraham needed. With animated gestures and rising excitement, he launched into an explanation. Talking about the character, the scene, the challenge of stepping into a completely different role. His voice carried over the food court as he described costumes, posture, and the thrill of becoming someone else. By the time he finished, the group was staring. Then came applause. Whistles. A few exaggerated cheers and playful catcalls. Abraham felt his face light up as he soaked it all in, confidence blooming fully now, brighter than ever. Thanks, guys. Seriously, Abraham said, glancing around the group. It means a lot, especially since this was pretty far outside my comfort zone. Justin immediately clapped a hand onto his shoulder, grinning ear to ear. Outside your comfort zone? Dude, you didn't just step out. You owned it. I'd pay money to see Mrs. Miller's face when you walk into class like that. Abraham laughed, the image forming instantly. Oh, it's going to be legendary. I can already imagine her just freezing. Their laughter blended with the hum of the food court, trays clattering and voices overlapping as the group settled into easy conversation. Questions flew his way, about the assignment, the character, how long it took to put everything together. Abraham happily indulged them, recounting his failed makeup experiments, the nightmare of wig shopping, and the awkward first attempt at walking in heels. Each story earned louder laughs than the last, until people nearby started glancing over curiously. When the laughter finally eased, Justin tilted his head, studying him more thoughtfully. So, how does it actually feel? Dressing like this, I mean. Abraham paused. He looked down at the skirt, brushing his fingers over the smooth fabric, feeling the contrast of lace and satin beneath his touch. Honestly, he said slowly, it's kind of freeing. Like stepping into someone else's life for a moment, and discovering something new about yourself along the way. A few of them nodded, the answer settling in. Ryan smirked, clearly enjoying the moment. So what, you gonna keep doing this after the project's done? Abraham blinked, caught off guard. The idea lingered longer than he expected. Then he shrugged with a playful smile. Maybe. For now, I'm just focused on absolutely crushing this performance. That earned another round of laughter and friendly nudges. Soon the conversation drifted to more familiar territory. Mall mischief, summer jobs, half-baked vacation plans, as the afternoon slipped by. Eventually, Abraham said his goodbyes, promising to report back with every detail of his teacher's reaction. With a lightness in his step, he headed back to the car, satisfaction humming beneath the surface. Sliding into the driver's seat, he smoothed the skirt and adjusted the wig, a routine already starting to feel natural. The drive home passed quietly, sunlight warming the streets of his neighborhood as he pulled into the driveway. His mother was out front, kneeling among her rose bushes, pruning shears glinting in her hand. Abraham stepped out carefully, posture straight, movements deliberate, and approached her. Well, hello there, Abriana, she called, smiling brightly. Back already? I thought you'd be off causing trouble with your friends. He smiled, warmth blooming at the sound of the name. I was, but I wanted to show you the final result. What do you think? He spun lightly, the skirt fanning out around him. His mother rose, setting the shears aside, her eyes sparkling. My goodness. Abriana, you look absolutely lovely. That dress is perfect on you, and the makeup. She shook her head in admiration. I'm genuinely impressed. You didn't miss a single detail. She waved it off with a soft laugh. Hardly. But I can see when someone pours their heart into something, and you certainly did. Her eyes narrowed playfully as she studied him. Though I get the feeling there's more to this than just homework, isn't there? I have to admit, she added with a fond smile, I rather like having a daughter around, even if it's only pretend. A spark of mischief danced in Abraham's eyes. You know me, Mom, they replied lightly. I do try my best to keep you entertained. Her laughter bubbled out, rich and affectionate. That you certainly do, my dear. That you do. She reached up and gently fixed a loose strand of the wig, her touch soft, instinctive. Now, she continued, curiosity gleaming, tell me more about this character. I want to hear everything about this clever noblewoman of yours. Abraham needed no further invitation. With dramatic flair, they dove into the tale, hands moving expressively as they unraveled the play's tangled schemes. They spoke of secret ambitions, quiet manipulations, and power wielded behind polite smiles, their voice lifting with excitement as the story carried them along. Their mother listened intently, eyes shining as the narrative unfolded. Seeing her child so animated, so transformed, seemed to deepen her fascination, as though the costume itself had breathed extra life into the performance. When Abraham finally finished, she brought her hands together in applause, clearly delighted. Bravo, Abriana, she said warmly. Absolutely wonderful. I can already tell, you're going to steal the show. That class won't know what hit them. Her confidence lingered in the air, leaving Abraham glowing with pride.